Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, this week our lead story is a sad one. We lost one of our very own, Rosemarie Liftoff. She was an industry veteran that worked with C2 Financial in the North San Diego County area, and she recently passed away. So I just want to bring you up to date on that. And I found a very heartwarming tribute to her in a local newspaper. So let's just take a brief look. Rob Weinberg submitted a column to the Coast News Group, which serves the northern San Diego County area, and he noted that while everyone claims to be an expert in mortgage financing, it was refreshing to know someone who actually understood what she was talking about without having to check with supervisors for an answer. If there was one thing that those of you who knew Rosemarie can appreciate, it was her great sense of humor and wit. Great dry wit. I really appreciated that. And I had the privilege of serving her for about 8 years as a reverse focus customer as she was working in that area with C2 Financial. And that was reiterated in this column, which said she would call me regularly for business advice, always asking about my family and swapping bad jokes. And it was announced just before the NORMLA annual meeting in Minneapolis that she co-authored a book along with Renee Constantinos and Kim Buckley entitled Reverse Mortgages for Women by Women. And that really was a guide for women who found themselves maybe suddenly widowed or their financial situation had changed and how home equity may be able to help them improve their lives. If there's one word that many of us could use to describe Rosemarie, it would be authentic. Not only her fellow reverse mortgage professionals would say that, but her clients as well. By the way, Rosemarie was one of over just 200 certified reverse mortgage professionals in the nation, so she did take her business seriously and really knew the reverse mortgage inside and out. Rosemarie, you will be missed. Godspeed to you, and we send our love and affection and condolences to your family and friends as well. Housing Wire's Reverse Mortgage Daily reports that Senate Democrats have proposed a bill which would temporarily boost benefits for Social Security and VA benefit recipients, citing inflation and President Donald Trump's tariffs. So let's dive into this a little bit more. The bill would boost benefits by $200 a month for 6 months, and the bill cites persistently high prices. I would agree with that, and the lingering impact of inflation. It's called the Social Security Emergency Inflation Relief Act, and if it was passed, it would provide a boost in payments from January through June 2026. Now, recently, the Social Security Administration announced the new cost of living, or COLA adjustment for 2026, being at 2.8%. But let's talk real briefly about inflation today. Inflation has dropped significantly. In fact, it fell from an annualized peak of 9.1% in June of 2022 to about 3% today. Now we're seeing this bill for relief surfacing after the worst price spikes have happened. But that's not really the whole story, because even though inflation has come down, those previous increases in the cost of living are now baked into all the goods and services that we and older homeowners use each and every day. From early 2021 through 2023, we saw the cost of living, at least the cumulative cost of living, increase by over 20%. So now if you add the current CPI, the most recent report being 2.9% in August, that means that older homeowners and those on a fixed income are paying on average about 24% more than they were just 4 short years ago. If this bill was passed, it would push right into June of 2026, just a few months before the midterms of November 2026. You have to consider that political timing as well. But let's look at the claims of tariffs being used as one of the justifications for this bill. Now, when it comes to trade tariffs, those have already been accounted for in the CPI. It's not a separate calculation. So those are already baked into the equation. So that has been fully captured by the CPI data. In a sense, tariffs don't represent a separate inflationary factor. They're part of the inflation. And right now we're at about 2.9%. We're still above the Fed's target of 2%, but I believe that 3% will become the new 2% when it comes to target inflation for the Fed. So the conversation around inflation has begun to shift, but again, I wanted to make you mindful of this. As Reverse Mortgage Daily did report, this could boost payments by $200 a month for potential and existing reverse mortgage clients if passed. Last week, I interviewed Eric Marin with Atlas Valuation Management and Thomas Martinioni with QuantumReverse about their new technology partnership that will really, I think, revolutionize how not only reverse mortgages are originated in an LOS platform such as QuantumReverse, but how appraisals are ordered. There are wide-reaching ramifications. Now, this integration has not been completed yet. They're in the process, but they have formed a partnership. So let's cut to that interview.
And we are here today to talk about a very new integration. I understand that both of you have recently partnered in a new endeavor. And so if you could just tell us just real briefly what that partnership entails and how it's going to impact our industry.
Well, I would jump in and say first that the integration is not complete yet, but it is a new arrangement that we're jumping into, and we are. I'm certainly excited about it. I know our clients are, to be able to streamline streamline the appraisal process between Thomas's LOS and our technology platform.
So, how did this partnership come about as you're creating this integration?
Well, let me just go back a little bit and share that in my prior AMC, we had built our own technology platform, and by owning our own platform and controlling our own system, we're able to customize workflows, and which especially are important in the reverse mortgage space for us as an AMC. When I launched this AMC a few years ago, we chose to use an off-the-shelf subscription platform to get us launched. And that served us well for a few years, but we had the opportunity to not only become the customer of a leading platform and one of the better platforms in the space. I'll be humble and say that. I think it's actually the best one out there, but I'm not sure everyone will agree with it if they're a competitor. But we were able to not only become a customer of this platform, but we were able to actually acquire the company. And that company serves both lenders and other appraisal management companies. And so in our process of, over the course of the last couple of years, it has come up numerous times from our Thomas and I's shared client base to find a way to integrate. And we both reached, we had a lot of pushback from the system that blocked us from doing that. Our old system that we were on, Thomas was having a hard time integrating with them, and we couldn't get them to integrate with Thomas. We were able to change that conversation when we acquired our own platform, and Thomas was probably one of the first calls we made when we said, hey, now we can actually do this.
So, Thomas, how do you see this integration when it's complete really affecting the workflow for a processor in QuantumReverse?
I have to say, I was actually really happy when I got Eric's call because there are a few platforms on the market, and we've tried before to make integrations with these platforms. And first of all, the technology really cumbersome. And then you deal with the business people, and then they initially are excited, and then they hear about the volume that we have 2/3 of the reverse mortgage market. They get even more excited. And then when they figure out how big the reverse mortgage market are, they're like, and you don't hear back from them anymore. So it's really good to work with somebody who understands the technology, the process, and actually has heard what the reverse mortgage is before.
So what's interesting is that it appears that this whole integration was brought about by customer demand, right?
We've been asked a couple times by customers, we've been pushed and kind of almost accused, why don't you do it? And we say, well, yeah, we need to have a partner to do it. You can't marry without having a girl or a man or so. You need somebody else. So we weren't able to do it. So I really look forward to working with Eric.
So what challenges, I know you had some challenges earlier, but what challenges do you see ahead for this integration within our industry?
So let me talk technology-wise, and Eric, you jump in when you disagree. So we have a lot of integrations for different services, like credit, for instance. We submit loans to FHA, to appraisal login, to C-Link, but almost all of these services are quasi-synchronous, meaning you execute the request or the push, and it's being pushed through, and you immediately see a response. You order the credit report, and duck, here it is. The appraisers are surprisingly, I don't know why, Eric, you're going to have to explain me that, but he claims he understands why they are so slow. So you can order an appraisal. It takes days for the appraisal to come in. And then it's a cumbersome process with reviews and other things. So handling the appraisal is a much more complex process than just credit. And additionally to that, for reverse mortgage, the appraisal is probably the most important thing because it defines the collateral. So there's a lot of back and forth that goes on during the process. So it's not only that in the reverse mortgage space, the appraisal, there's fewer being made, but they are even more complicated apparently than in the forward world, just because of all the additional things that are happening with it.
Eric, what can you add to that? And also, as we wrap up, can you kind of tell our viewers, podcast viewers, what's the benefit to them with this integration when it's complete?
Well, when the integration is complete, they'll be able to order their appraisal directly from QuantumReverse and order it out to the AMCs that are integrated with the platform. And so, although Atlas is our AMC is one of those integrated partners, the expectation is there will be dozens of AMCs that will be integrated with our import system, and so they'll be able to select their appraisal management company and to streamline that process, which reduces a lot of effort. They don't have to retype a lot of the information. It reduces error rates. It just all that the back and forth we're able to get streamlined.
So this is really going to affect the originator in speed to appraisal, right? So the transaction's going to, at least on the front end, is going to be sped up just that much more.
Yeah, it's certainly not going to be at the speed of the credit report. So we won't be promising that lightning speed, but yeah, it should speed up the process. It should make things a lot more efficient.
Absolutely. The sooner we can get that appraisal request in the system, the sooner it can be completed. So, well, we're very excited to see this product take shape. I'm excited to see just increasing integrations in our industry, and I think this is a very mindful choice to really make that workflow a little less tedious. So, gentlemen, congratulations. And when this is fully launched, we'll be following up as well. But again, thank you, and we'll have you back on soon.
Yes, count on it.
We're happy to.
We're working to get that done soon.
I'm sure, yeah, burning the midnight oil. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Have a great day.